Hey everyone, this is Dustin Miles. Super excited to be here. I'm with Momentum Multifamily, and excited to have my friend Harry here today. I've known him for a few years, and have enjoyed more recently his running adventures through social media. So it's great to be able to connect. So, anyways, yeah, Harry, I'll if you want to go ahead and kind of introduce yourself and we'll get to the interview.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks so much, Dustin, for having me your show. I'm very honored. Um, so yeah, I mean, like as many people, some people may know, like I'm a physician, a full-time physician, pulmonary critical care. My wife and I were both from South America, from Peru. We came about 15 years ago to the U.S. And about 15 years, so 7 years ago, we moved to Dallas Fort Worth, and that's where our real estate journey started. Initially in single family homes locally here, like in the Dallas Fort Worth area. So we bought so we have up to 11 properties, like between single family homes, duplexes, and triplexes, that we still own actually, right? Like, and then probably three and a half years ago, we got very interested in scaling up and also having like economies of scale. So we decided to jump into commercial real estate, like especially apartment complexes and syndications. And yeah, no, it has been quite a ride like in the last 3 years.
Okay, awesome. Well, cool. Yeah, that's awesome, and I think that's how a lot of people get started. I know how that's how I got started. I got started in doing single family. I'm like, okay, this is great. Now I want to be able to scale some, and how do you do that and all that. So, I guess kind of curious. Where do you invest, and then what cities have you invested in as a GP?
Yeah, yeah. So for residential real estate, of course, we invest here in our backyard, right? Like in Dallas Forward, and yeah, I mean, we can go up to an hour and a half outside Dallas. And for commercial real estate, again, like we have the luxury that we use these third party property management companies, right? Like that they are full time into these, and they have also like boots in the grounds and someone who is in house, right? Until now, we have invested like mainly in the Midwest and the Southeast, including Georgia, Florida, and Texas, and Arizona too, right? Like so, we have been so especially like again like in the southern U.S.
Well, yeah, sure. The Midwest stuff is treating you well right now. I know they're doing well as far as rent growth and all that. So,
Yeah.
so hopefully all that's going well for you. There's lots of different roles as a GP. As you mentioned, you could be boots on the ground. Asset management. Maybe it's investor relations. I feel like regardless of what you do, everybody kind of raises capital too, or sometimes that's the focus. So,
Absolutely.
just kind of curious as far as GPs, because we get asked all the time. They're like, "I want to be a GP. What do I do?" And so, anyways, would love to kind of get your thoughts on your role as a GP and what you like to do.
When we started again, like about 3 years ago, we actually decided to join a mastermind, right? Like because we already have some education about commercial real estate, but we knew that it was going to be impossible to do that ourselves. So we joined a group, we joined a mastermind, right? Like I said, and as you can imagine, right? Like there are different people from different backgrounds, right? And
Mhm.
everyone has their own expertise, right? Like, and that's what we actually love from commercial real estate, right? Like again, like that we can form these teams and help each other, right? So again, so if you talk about like an acquisition in commercial real estate, you have different roles or parts, right? Like so, one of them is like the underwriter, right? Like and or the person who looks for the property, right? Like so, that's the person who is in charge of, I mean, scouting these properties under certain again characteristics and requirements that where you want to acquire these properties, right? Like and sometimes this can take a couple of months, like and even more, right? Like so, and you do all the underwriting, all the projections, you do all the relationships with the property management company, with the lawyer, with the lender, and all of that. So there's the other part also, who are the KPs. right? Like that also help
Hmm.
like to close these projects, like in order like to show the bank or the lender that you have enough experience and also enough net worth and also liquidity, right? Like so that's very important. The other part is also like as you're saying, like all of us do also capital raising, right? Like so when you're buying these multi-million dollar properties, right? Like so we form these kind of teams, right? Like and we have some capital and some money, but as you can imagine, like the down payment or the money that you need to put down is millions and millions of dollars too, right? Like so I mean like
Yep.
it takes a village, right? Like so again, like
Yep.
so that's where we put together like the active investors and the passive investors, and together we're able like to raise this amount of capital, right? Like so, so that's another area of the GP teams. The other area is also like the asset management, right? Like, and which is like nowadays for me is the most important part, right? Like because again, like you do all underwriting, you do your projections, and you get the property management company. But after that, I mean, like that's actually just happens in about 3 to 6 months, right? Like so, and after that, for 5 or 7 years, you depend on the asset manager, right? Like, and that's one of
Yep.
our main goals and main keys for us when we partner up with other groups, right? Like so we want someone who is doing this full time. We want someone who has been doing this also for a long time, and we want someone who is also close or lives close by to these properties, right? Like no more than 2 or 3 hours from those properties.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you can't throw a rock and hit hit someone that's in multifamily, but there's, there are, within kind of our circles and all that, there's a good number of folks. And so, always, I know on our end, we're always trying to set ourselves apart, by doing events and different things. But, just kind of curious if, there's anything that kind of, you do to help set yourself apart from others, and why, why you versus the stock market, or why you versus, maybe someone else that is raising capital.
So one of the things that we always try to share, or to how to educate other people, or especially like our type of investors, like which are like physicians or people in the healthcare system, right? Like it's about like the first thing is to have education, right? Like just to understand what you're going into, right? Like so this is another type of investment. It's a very lucrative, and it's a great way to diversify and also to build wealth, right? But again, like it's another way of investing, right? Like so
Mhm.
difference from the stocks and mutual funds. I mean, like they are okay too, and it's a valid way to invest. But again, like I prefer the real estate part, like because you have more control and more transparency, right? Like, and again, like you are able like to pick up like so for example, if you want to talk with your operator, or like the lead sponsor in your project, you can just pick up the phone or send like a text message or like an email, and you're gonna be
Yep.
able like to get answers, right? Like so it's very different like if you buy like stocks from Pepsi or like or Coca-Cola or like any other like big name out there, right? Like so you're not gonna be able like to talk with anyone, right? Like so that's the important part. So like the next thing is like again like just to try to understand the business plan and how this works. So it takes a lot of education to just to get involved in this, right? Like, and that's probably one of the things that we try to, you may say, specialize or just like be different, like in this part, right? Like we try to give honest advice and honest education to other people, like especially like in the healthcare system, right? Like because when you're working into this, or you're like a busy professional, it's very different like to have like the time to learn a new field of investing, right? Like so, I mean,
Mhm.
it's very different. Like, and if you think about that, you may have like your early career, and you may be starting, or you want to open like your practice, and on top of that you also have like your family, or you have like other interests, right? Like so you want to have a dedicated team, a professional team who takes care of this, right? Like, and I always, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I always very transparent, like in the regards that another operator in like in this field, and I always like actually like tell my friends and my investors that again, like they should talk with 2 or 3 people like at the same time, right? Like and learn about them, and learn like the type of communications that they're gonna have like in the future, right? Like because again, like um, a syndication or this kind of projects is nothing like again, it's not like a couple of months, it's for years, right? Like so you're
Yep.
gonna be
Yep.
kind of like married or in a partnership with someone for many years, right? Like, so that's the important part.
You've kind of hinted on, some of the stuff. You want people that are hands on, full time, close by, and that they've been in the business for a number of years. Any other metrics that you kind of look for in a deal when you're kind of vetting a deal to potentially get involved with?
I could tell you many things. Obviously, but and
You're
in
like,
the
how much
past,
time we got?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, and in the past we have like done a lot of betting like operators, and also just to go back and do like the due diligence, right? Like, and review like the numbers and underwriting and all of that. But at the end of the day, I mean, so this is like a business, like a business, like of people, and also like of relationships, right? Like, so that depends a lot on the type of sponsor. So I usually try to go back and try to see like the track record of the sponsor, and also the type of communications that he or she has, like with his co-sponsors and also with his investors. And like, I think that's very, very important.
There's always going to be, there's going to be highs and lows and everything in between. But, that communication, there's been some, cause I invest passively too. And so there's been, some folks where I'm like, wow, communication's awesome. And then there's been some other folks where I'm like, I probably won't invest with them again. They actually did okay, but I'm like, communication was not there. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, it kind of goes all around. So, you talk to a lot of different LPs and people that are looking to get involved and things like that, and just kind of curious if there's anything in particular that they because we sometimes get the question of we'll talk to an investor, and sometimes they're newer and they're like, well, what should I be asking you? And so we're very transparent. Just hey, this is what's where do we see the risk in this deal or whatever. So just kind of curious, if you've kind of got any interesting LP questions thrown at you, or if there's anything in particular that you think passive investors should be looking for in a deal.
For me, it's very important that they have a good understanding of how's the business plan, right? Like, and
Mhm.
that sometimes can take some time for them to learn. But I'm way more comfortable when that happens. Like, also, I want to be very transparent, like in the sense of just telling them what type of investment this is, and also like the type of reasons why they shouldn't invest in this type of investment, right? Like, so one of the things that I usually talk with them about is like, again, like the reasons why not to invest in this kind of like projects, right? Like, so one of them is for example, right? Like, so it's an illiquid investment, right? Like, so again, like if you're gonna put your money in, it's not like the stocks, right? Like, where if you change your mind, you can sell like the stocks like the next day or the next week, and your money is going to be there like very quickly, right? Like, in this type of investments, you need to think about your money is going to be there for 5 to 7 years, or the length
Yep.
of the project, right? Like, so like the second thing that I tell them is, again, like it's like an is expensive, right? Like, so again, like going in syndication is not a small money, even like for physicians or for high earning professionals is a big amount of money. So they need like to take
Mhm.
like the decision to invest or not, right? Like, and again, like if they're planning like to make like expenses in the next year, like in buying a car or something like that, they need to think about that, right? Like, I always like advise. So for example, like not to take a loan to invest or do these kind of things,
Mhm.
right? Like, and the last thing that I always tell them also, and they have asked me this before also, is that, again, like for good or for bad, and mostly for good. So this is a passive investment. So like, and like, I know that there are many doctors out there that they are super excited about like going into the syndications and real estate, and they want to be super updated, and they want to participate, and they want to
Mhm.
give their opinions and all of that. But again, like, so this is a passive investment. So like the decisions and the day-to-day operations are going to be taken by the sponsor and by the asset manager, right? Like, so they need like to respect that. And also, again, like for me, it's even better, right? Like because like I don't need like to be answering like to any of the questions of the property, right? Like, I mean, I don't need to be working up like at 3 a.m. in the morning, or like or do like anything of that, right? Like, and I rely on a professional who is doing this day to day.
Kind of curious. I know there's things that I really like, about multifamily. Some, maybe not so much, but so kind of, do you have some favorite things that you like the most about multifamily, and then maybe some that you don't maybe care for as much? I know we're in the middle of K1, so that's kind of top of mind
Yeah,
for me, and I'm not, preparing taxes and all that. It's not the most fun thing in the world, but it's kind of, you gotta do it.
yeah,
So but not paying tax, or not that depreciation and all that helps with my return. So I do like that part.
absolutely.
So
Yes, absolutely.
anyways,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no. So there are parts that we love and that we don't love that much in multifamily or in real estate, right? Like so, I mean, like personally, I like a lot like to go to due diligence in the new buildings
Mhm.
and to meet like the other sponsors and to go unit like by unit and like and inspect like all of them and to do like also like a financial audit, right? Like I love to be boots on the ground and like just be like there with the asset manager like in occasions, right? Like but especially I mean like again as you know me like I love a lot about like the education to other people and also like to talk with investors and to educate them like even like in a conversation, right? Um, things that I don't enjoy as much as that. I mean like so I mean like it's not that I don't enjoy, it's probably that I don't have enough background and enough like education to do that, right? Like, so I was actually part of the asset management team in one of our local properties, right? Like, and I was actually boots on the ground and I was going there like every single week, like to see the asset, right? Like, and I really liked it, right? Like, but again, like, sometimes when you don't have the best partnership so for example like in a property management company you need like to put even more effort, right? Like in running like the business plan. And again, like in this time, that's very, very important, right? Like, and again, like for good and for bad, like the last 10 years were great for real estate, were like the golden years of real estate and everything was great, right? Like, so in the last 2 or 3 years, there have been some headwinds and now we need to be more focused in asset management, right? Like, and some people may forget about that, right? Like, and especially some property management companies, right? Like, so you need to be on top of that, right? Like, so I'm not kind of like the type of boss who is there, I mean, all the time and reminding people like to do this or the other thing, right? Like, but again, like it's something that you may learn with time, right? Like, but it's nothing like I look forward to do initially in the next year or so.
And then I think you said you started out in a mentoring program. I think you said that. So
Yeah.
are you part of a mentoring program? You kind of started out and maybe still part of that, or what was? I started out lifestyles, and I was in Some Rocks for a little bit, and now not in a program per se, but yeah, kind of curious about your journey.
We joined a program mainly because we knew, like first, as we mentioned before, that I mean, like we couldn't have done this by ourselves, right? Like so, doing a syndication, this kind of projects, like huge apartment complexes, you cannot do by yourself. I mean, even like as a full-time job, I mean, it's very very difficult. You need
Yep.
partners and cooperate and GPs, right? So that's like the first part, right? Like so, we also wanted to accelerate our education and our networking,
Mhm.
right? Like, so that's the reason we joined this program, and actually was very useful, right? Like again, like we got like a first kind like education, and we were able like to go like to all the due diligence and do like I mean like all this extra work like needed, right? Like, and we also were able like to participate in projects actually very quickly, right? Like so that's part of the reason why we joined. Do you necessarily need like to join a program? I would say no, but it takes more time and effort, right? Like so,
Mhm.
I mean, like so that would be my recommendation. And it's not like so. Some people think like okay, like I'm gonna join like a program and then like everything is gonna be easy, right? Like and all the deals are gonna come to me and I'm gonna be able like to do like a professional operator and that, right? Like I mean, it's not like that. I mean, like you still need to put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and like and do underwriting and do these trips and put like time like in doing content and education and all of that, right? Like so, I mean, like it's still not easy, but again, like it's faster, like because you have like the resources already like with you, right? Like so, we're very grateful like again like that we joined like a mentorship, a mastermind like program we're not there anymore, like because we are now like trying to find also other like operators and partners like out there, right?
Mhm.
Like so again, like we're very grateful about that. Like and we also are looking for other types of assets too, right? Like again, like Class A, Class B plus, and also we have been last year in development, right? Like which is another space that we have venture already.
Switching gears a little bit here, do you have any, favorite books or podcasts that you like to share? And then, curious if I don't know how big of a reader you are or audiobook guy, but if there's any books or audiobooks that you've read more than once, because if you've done more than once, then you probably really really like it. It's my guess. So,
Yeah,
anyways, I'll share with you real quick.
yeah.
Actually, at first I wasn't as keen on it, but I'm reading this. I can't remember it's a book by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's the one.
Oh,
It's an audiobook, and he's reading it. And so initially, it kind of hooked me because I grew up in the '80s, and so he was all over the movie
yeah.
screen and all that. And so
I remember that too.
I like listening to his voice, so I like his accent. So
I will come back.
um,
I will come back.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, yeah, no, I mean, like, in the last 3, 4 years, I mean, like, there's so many books and so much, I mean, like, good content, really. I mean, in real estate, but also in business and entrepreneurship, right? Like, so in real estate, like I believe, like everyone starts with a purple book, right? Like the
Mhm,
like the Kiyosaki book. But there's a book. I mean, actually, it's not necessarily just in real estate. And real estate, I mean, like I've read or like do the audiobooks like of everyone, like pretty much, right? Like the Joe Fairless one, like the Jake and Gino,
mhm,
like the Wheelbarrow Profits and all of that. But in types of a book or an audiobook that I always come back, I mean, it's and you may have heard this book too. It's like the Gap and the Gain, right? Like Ben Dan Sullivan, Ben Hardy, right? Like so,
mm,
it's a book like about like again like how professionals, high achievers, or or entrepreneurs see themselves trying to look perfection or trying to look happiness. And sometimes it's very, very difficult, and you may be frustrated at the end, right? Like so,
mhm,
how you start is actually trying to find happiness immediately inside you and be grateful about all the things that you have already and that you have achieved, and that changes your mindset completely, right? Like from
yeah.
a person who is looking for someone to a person who is already grateful about like all the things that he or she has, right? And this applies not just for yourself but also for everything, really, like for your clients and for your employees, for your kids, for your wife, right? So it's very powerful.
And then just kind of curious. I know we're towards the beginning of the year and all that. A lot of people kind of set goals, and some people set 1 year goals. Some people it's more. Sometimes it's 3 or 5 year goals. Just kind of curious. I know you get the sense you're big into personal development and growth and education. So just kind of curious, where you see yourself in 5 years, and yeah, just kind of or maybe over the next year. So
Yeah.
whatever kind of timeline works best for you.
Goals that we have, I mean, like, so first, in terms of family, again, like, we're very grateful that, I mean, of the family we have, we want to continue doing things that we're doing, to travel more, to spend time with our kids.
Mm,
We know that that's very important. I mean, like, the precious time that you have with your family is not going to come back. So just
mhm.
to cherish these moments. In the professional part, in the medical side, I love medicine still. I mean, actually, I
Oh,
plan to
good.
continue being a physician for a long time. Maybe not just working. I mean, like, all the nights that I'm doing in this moment or all the weekends that I'm doing now, but still
Yeah,
I'm planning to continue doing that. And in
good.
real estate and in the business, we have been very successful in the past, which we appreciate a lot. Uh, we want to grow, but I don't necessarily can give you an exact number or exact size, right? Like, but we want to
Yeah.
impact other people, right? Like, so we want to
Hmm.
be someone that people can trust. I mean, and not necessarily just in syndications or in commercial real estate, like because I talk with many doctors who and also like professionals who may be interested in being an active investor, right? Like, so
Mhm.
if I may be able like to help someone out and get him or her like in the right like that direction, why not, right? Like, so we want to do that, and also we want to continue doing like education, right? Like, so we like that, and I think it serves like a great purpose.
I like that a lot. You know, it's very, very healthy that and I felt like I was this way too. Sounds like you may like your job better than I did, but you know, when I was an engineer, you know, I would I was, honestly, I got to do some really cool stuff and see some really cool stuff. And so, I was grateful, for that piece, of it. I did have a strong desire to go over into, I think I was born to be, an entrepreneur. I, grew up
Yeah,
with different businesses and all that. So, but I like a challenge, and so I kind of went in engineering. But so, anyways, no, that's great, and that way, you're not, you know, I've seen some people. They're like they quit their job and then they get into multifamily and then they're backed into a corner where they have to go do deals, and I don't think that's necessarily the right way to I mean, everybody has a different path and all that, but then it's it's like I wouldn't want to have to compromise, like, oh, should we do this deal? I don't know,
absolutely,
so anyways, but
absolutely.
yeah, kind of curious. You've been in this for a little bit, and if you just kind of closing, do you have any advice for anyone looking to be a GP? And we get asked all the time, again, hey, I want to be a GP. What can I do? Blah blah blah. So, just kind of curious to see if you have any advice for people that want to be in the GP spot.
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing is, I guess I would mention just like the part of education, right? Like, so that do some
Mhm.
education, join like a mastermind, or do like go to YouTube and watch like for the videos, or write like an audiobook, or like any of that, right? Like, so like the next part is like, again, like the networking part, right? Like, again, like you need to be out there, right? Like you need to be around like the people who is already doing this, right? Like, and we cannot not always know. I mean, like, again, like we have to start somewhere, right? Like, so there's like the imposter syndrome, right? Like, again, like we're gonna
Mhm.
go to a meeting and we think like, hey, I mean, I'm not sure what I can add, right? Like, I'm a physician, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a like an accountant, and I don't have like experience from before, right? But you just need to start asking, right? Like, again, like, and at some point, just try to find a way to be of value, right? Like, and after that
Mhm.
happens, it's gonna be very easy again.
Kind of closing and all that, how do people get in touch with you? Feel free to, website, email, or whatever is the best form of contact for you. I know you've been putting out quite a bit of content, more recently and all that. So how can people get a hold of you?
So we have our website, right? Like, as nimaequity.com. Nima is N
Mhm.
as in Nancy, IMA, equity.com. And we have like our YouTube channel of the same name, and Facebook page of the same name. And lately we have been like in the last probably 6 months more active in LinkedIn, and trying to, again, like provide more content and education to other people. We share like videos every week, right? Like, so yeah, no,
Yeah, really appreciate your time here today. It's great, been getting to know you, and
yeah,
always enjoy, kind of your posts and your pictures and all
no.
that of your family. So, yeah, I appreciate everything.